Alright, so I'm just going to start off by saying this over here was what inspired me to actually start to research this stuff for my project number 4 for ICT. It's kind of upside down, but this piece right over here is the Daytech Solar Charger 5000. It's a portable solar panel charger, battery charger. You can plug it into any device, or actually you can plug 2 devices in it at once and charge it via solar energy. Or if there's no sun out, then of course it has a built-in battery that stores up to 3 or 4 charges. Or for my iPod, I can usually charge around 3 to 4 times just off of one fully charged battery. Of course, I didn't have to spend $80 on it. It was only, I think, about $60 when I got it, because I got it at the Toronto Green Living Show 2013, which was in this previous March. But it started me on a journey of constantly looking for other things, because as cool as it was, I wanted to see more stuff. And so project number 4 for ICT gave me the opportunity to look up a lot of really cool things. I would like to start off with the Leaf Ecophone, a company probably calling itself Leaf. Right now it's just a concept, but basically it's a solar powered phone that is flexible, which means you can wrap it around your wrist. It has a scrolling ball in order to actually go through all the commands. It has a slightly different keypad for the numbers. It just basically has 2 columns instead of the usual 3 columns by 4. But it looks very interesting, and that was the first thing I actually found while researching. This is what I want my next phone to be, because it is just awesome. It looks like a lightsaber, but it is a cell phone that runs off of Coca-Cola or any sort of soft drink. You pour it in, and it runs off of the chemicals in the sugar using a biological battery or a biofuel cell battery, and you get drinking water afterwards when you're done. It doesn't take up a full can of Coke, obviously, so you can enjoy the rest after you have poured it into the phone to have it run off of it. And I've just thought that was awesome. Moving on to a solar-powered car. I should have put this in the solar-powered car window, but I guess this is okay. The roof of it is dimpled, so that it can receive solar energy from whatever angle the sun is, as well as to make it more aerodynamic. I'm not quite sure why it's more aerodynamic when it's perforated, whereas I always thought if it was smooth it would have less drag or aerodynamic friction, but yeah, it still looks kind of cool. Nokia, besides the Coca-Cola phone, has a bunch of solar power concept phones, this one being the E10. Yes, this is just a concept. No, it's not real, but it would be awesome to just fold out your phone and charge it anywhere, anytime. People would think it would just be like a tablet once you unfold it, I think. Which would be interesting to receive looks and people asking, is that a tablet? No, it's a solar panel. Here's another solar-powered phone, no company name just yet. It's just a concept, so I'm not quite sure if anyone actually is ever going to use this. But I would guess this one would also be a smartphone as well, given the fact that it has a trackpad, or a circular trackpad that gives you the controls of up, down, side, center button, much like the previous generation of Blackberries just were. Going back to flip phones, people have posted a bunch of different concepts of these. Of course, this one is a solar-powered flip phone that has a built-in GPS and Bluetooth and is in a waterproof case. So I don't really care so much about GPS and Bluetooth being in a phone, but having a waterproof solar-powered phone would be amazing. mainly because you can bring it anywhere and not have to worry about if someone spills something on it, or if it's raining and you take it out. It would also just, had I designed this, I would have had it use water as a source of energy as well. Given the fact that it's waterproof, it might as well use it, but whoever designed this one didn't do that. Water is also used to power other devices. Here's a water power calculator, not one that looks as good as mine, but mine doesn't look so great either. But it runs basically the same as any other calculator, except instead of having a built-in battery, it has water poured into these tubes with metal things in it that generate energy from the water. I would guess by breaking up the hydrogen ions in the water, because that's how PowerTrek does theirs. I'll get to that later. But I'm not 100% sure how it would work with these. And finally, and here's a very interesting thing, it's a watch that is powered by wind energy. Now, it can either work by just wind blowing against you as you walk, or you can blow at the screen and it will turn the fan, the rotating fan that's in the background. I would play the video, but video gets chopped up when you are screen recording off of QuickTime Player. Moving on to home-powered electronics. We're going to start at this end, actually. Most stationary solar panels look terrible, but they do fulfill the purpose of generating energy and storing it if you connect them to a battery. This, of course, is an older site, so all the prices on this site as I was going through are outdated, and all of these solar panels on them are outdated as well. Here's one I thought was an interesting concept. They have made a prototype of this, but I couldn't find a lot of research off of the prototype. In theory, this concept has moss or plant matter that grows inside the table, covered by glass so it doesn't release an odor into the air. The light actually provides enough UV light to generate energy inside the plant, so that the plants can actually photosynthesize using the synthetic light, and the light is powered by the photosynthesis that comes from the moss. So it's a self-sustaining concept, although the prototype, I'm not sure if it worked or if it didn't. They did not post anything off of the results from that. Moving on, there are various designs for water desalination and water collecting devices. This one using solar energy and wind, basically to collect any moisture from the air. I don't know how they did, because considering the picture is in a desert, and it just collects all the moisture that's in the air, dries it out, so I guess the air becomes even more dry than it was before, and stores the water inside the canister or the container. Don't know what they prefer to call it. This is a European company that you can either buy LED lights, which are powered by solar panels, and they provide the solar panels. Of course, you have to buy them, but it comes as a whole circuit. You buy the solar panel, and they put all the light fixtures in your house as LED lights, or you can use the SkyVault series, which are tubes that reflect sunlight through your ceiling into whatever room it is. So this is actually glass. It is not a light bulb. It just sends light right through it. As I went through, it basically has a bunch of reflections that essentially pump light through the tube as though it was just a piece of plumbing. As though it was, you can plumb water, they figured out how to plumb light. They also have a portable solar panel, which is in the shape of a briefcase. I prefer the really small portable solar panels that you can fit in your pocket, like my Daytech Charger 5000 that I said at the beginning of this video. There's basically, you can plug in any device from anywhere in the world to charge using this solar panel to generate all its energy. I would have used it for a laptop, but I don't have one of these. I have my miniature one. Another portable solar panel that, again, doesn't look as great as the pocket-sized versions, but these ones are waterproof. They can be placed on roofs, they can be placed on podiums, and various other places for your convenience. Here's something I had never heard of before. It's a concept for a gravity-powered lamp. There was a photo over here which hasn't loaded yet, even though it's been around half an hour since I opened up this page before making the video. Basically, there is a weight that is on the inside of the lamp, and it slowly sinks using gravity, and as it passes by other metal rings along the shaft, it sends an electric charge through those metal links along the shaft to actually power the lamp itself and the LED lights that are on the base of it to actually produce light beneath it. Here was an interesting thing from an MIT project. Much like we have the ICT projects, MIT had a project where they made photovoltaic cells inside of fabrics. This one being in a curtain, so you can close your curtains, block out the light, and then still get energy. I thought that was a genius idea because two birds with one stone. You get a darker room when you need it to be darker, and you get energy. I would have wished that they would put these in production, but I could not find where to buy these anywhere. I would especially like these because the curtains in my room are not that great, and I need to replace them anyways, and I would prefer to replace them with these than anything else that's available. As I said, I would introduce Power Trek. I introduced it a little while ago when I was talking about the water-powered calculator. Power Trek is a portable fuel cell that, like many other fuel cells, is pocket-sized. You can fit this in your pocket or in your backpack. You pour water into the power puck over here, you close the lid, and it breaks up the hydrogen ions to charge anything via USB. I've been begging my parents to let me get this, but it's around $300, so they won't let me. They have customizable ones where the top is a different color. The bottom's always gray, but you can. It's a company, so naturally they give you different options for colors on the top. I just wish it was less than $300 so I could get one of my own. I'm going to skip right over to here. They have created a prototype of a dress that has every little vibration or movement gets transferred into an electric current. Using kinetic energy, you can power any device. You just wearing any kind of clothing that uses any kind of vibration or kinetic energy wires. Unfortunately, the only prototype that they made was a dress, so girls, you're lucky. You get a a kinetic energy charging device, and unfortunately they can't make a t-shirt out of these yet, otherwise I would wear it. They also have hydrogen fuel cells, which basically it breaks up the hydrogen ions, just like the Power Trek, and it is in the shape of a AA battery. I don't know why they would put it in the shape of a AA battery and keep this end. If they remove this end and use it as a AA battery, I would think that would be a little more efficient. I'm a little hesitant about this one, simply because breaking up hydrogen ions is can be a very volatile procedure. It has been used in explosive devices before. If you have ever heard of the hydrogen bomb, that was simply because of setting off a chain reaction of splitting off hydrogen atoms. So this is when you split off hydrogen atoms and charge a portable device. I wouldn't get this myself, but it works, and this one's safe to use. It's not going to explode and destroy everything around it like another atomic bomb, but I still have my restrictions about it. There's also a huge movement to generate energy through heat, more specifically body heat. As you can see, this material over here, they attach onto inside of clothing and wirelessly charge devices, or they're trying to find a way to wirelessly charge devices because they don't want to attach a wire into it, because people would probably complain that it's uncomfortable if they have wires going through their clothing, even though I pointed out that they have wires going through clothing for vibration energy. But you win some, you lose some. Of course, other ways to generate energy, they decided to try again with kinetic energy of using a yo-yo. Everybody knows how a yo-yo works. Basically, it turns a turbine inside that charges a battery that's inside, and then you take off the cap with the Apple logo in this concept drawing, and you charge anything via USB. I would probably not charge my iPod with it, just because I would probably rather keep playing with the yo-yo. If I could use the yo-yo properly, I can't anyways. But again, you win some, you lose some. This is not one I would use, but it is an option of a concept. Here's one I would use because it makes you look like a stormtrooper and just looks awesome. It's a mask that charges any portable device, or so far just iPods or iDevices, and not the new ones, not the iPhone 5s or the newest iPads either. But the older iDevices can be charged via your breath, either from the air, the heat, or the moisture in your breath. I'm not quite sure which, but it has a bunch of turbines inside that as you breathe out, it spins them and then sends the electricity into your device. I'm really hoping that if they ever make a prototype of this, they make it a USB port here instead of just a wire, so that you can charge anything via USB and not be limited to just an Apple device, or an old Apple device to be exact. They also have the great idea of combining silk LED tattoos, which are just tattoos that can shine light. Here's an example of one over here, where it's silk, so in a few you can program when it washes off, so it's semi-permanent but not completely, plus it's programmable, so you can basically attach yourself to your own devices. Most of what people have used have been wireless chargers, so you could be holding your device and charge it while holding it. I'm not quite sure how, but all the studies have shown that it works. But it never says how it works. I wish they did. I still think it's pretty cool because you end up looking like C-3PO. Here's another concept drawing. This one actually looks like a drawing, where they have USB port in the shoe. You can charge anything with an anklet. This one, of course, using the example of an iPod. I don't know why everyone always uses an iPod as its example in concept drawings, but I guess it's because it's so well known. They have kinetic energy converter, as this label clearly shows, in the sole of the foot. So as you run, it generates electricity, and I would guess that it would probably store it in a battery pack along the heel, so that when you plug it in, you can use the energy, but if you don't have it plugged in, it will still generate electricity and save it. Otherwise, it's just a waste, or just a regular shoe that sometimes charges, sometimes doesn't. In my opinion, it would just work best if it has a battery built in as well. Here's one that I really wish I could get. I wish they actually had a prototype and not just this really well done concept drawing. It's a water-powered and solar-powered laptop. So basically a plant, in other words. Of course, these are small films that get pulled off of the main tube to form the screen and the keyboard. I don't know how this is going to work, because if it's a film, wouldn't it, be flimsy and bend down? How does it stay rigid? I read through it. There wasn't a lot of detail on the actual laptop, but if they can find a way to get this to work, I would love to get one, although I would prefer it to be Mac, because I prefer that, but either one works, of course. Here's another water-powered device. This one is only for light bulbs, the fluorescent light bulbs. You carry it around, you pour water in, it spins a turbine constantly, and generates electricity. very simple and not very easy to wear. I would guess that might be comfortable, but I would not want to carry this around with me as much as I would prefer like a Power Trek, just because I prefer stuff that's pocket-sized. You can also power things, as I mentioned before, with heat. This is more specifically for various devices, and of course Fujifilm is spearheading this. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they realized that film started going out of production when people went digital. So they're using film still to power other devices using just heat, or to control things using heat. So this would be a touch screen or a trackpad, and to control anything on the screen identical to using a mouse. Well, their main plan is just to use it to actually power devices, where if you're using your finger on the trackpad of a laptop, it's also charging the laptop, which is definitely worth it. Moving on to other household devices, you can attach this to any pipe, except for ones coming off of toilets, because you don't want solid waste going through this. But basically, any liquid can go through the tube, spin a turbine, generate power, and lead it to a power outlet. This one, of course, being a European power outlet. It would be very simple to make it into a North American, 2 vertical lines and a grounding hole. But I also wish that they would attach a battery either onto this part or onto this part, so that you can have energy stored with it and not just produced. If it was just produced and you plug something in, you could charge it. But if you plug something in and nothing was going through that pipe at that time, you wouldn't be generating any energy at all. So if they had a built-in battery for it, then I would say this. I would definitely put this part at every power outlet in my house, and this part on every pipe in my house, and just generate energy off of my own house. Unfortunately, my parents won't let me do that because I'm still with them until I move out. And here is when it gets quite wireless. Basically, you can charge anything wirelessly just the same way as you can charge it using a cord. They have, other things that charge things wirelessly, but this one I thought was really cool. It's a solar power sticker or screen saver. You put it right on top of the screen of any smart device, and it's thin enough that it won't disrupt the actual ability to actually touch the screen, but it's a solar panel, so it charges via the sun and charges the battery wirelessly. And I would use this on any smart device, except my phone's a dumb phone, which is why I want the Coke-powered phone. But nonetheless, if I had an iPhone, I would completely use this, or if I had like a Galaxy S, any number, I would still use this as well. Finally, this one was a really cool one. Not that long ago, just a couple months ago, a girl from BC, I'm pretty sure she was in grade 11 or grade 10. She's a little cute, but whatever. She generated a flashlight that is powered by the heat of your hand while you hold it. So you don't need to use a battery. They also have water-powered flashlights, but they're never actually as good. It's just simply the heat of your hand to light it. You can use it when you need it, and it will only use energy when you need to use the energy. So when you're not holding it, it's kind of useless. And now on to a little more external features. Instead of powering devices, they have solar-powered backpacks, which this one is by far the coolest one that I've found online. It's simply an attachable solar panel onto a backpack by the same company. I wish they would actually sell the solar panel on its own, and there are other companies that do that. They sell the solar panel on its own, you can attach it onto your backpack. But of course, as a marketing scheme, this one, Neon Green, sells both together. Here's another solar-powered backpack. I'm not quite sure which company sells this one, but it's online for $100. I might call my parents over to buy it for me later. They're not going to, but whatever. Here's the interesting thing, a solar-powered laptop. It also looks pretty good because it has glass as its main body. I would expect it to be tempered glass, because if you're walking around with a fragile device, you probably won't be using it for fear of dropping it. But if it's tempered glass, meaning it's shatterproof, then I would not be afraid to actually bring this around everywhere, because I don't know, I think it's really cool to have something you can actually see through, and not just have a matte back of the laptop, keyboard, and basically everything except the screen being solid and non-see-through. Here it's all see-through except for the solar panel and a little bit of the keyboard, which has another solar panel where the trackpad is, and then of course the screen is as is. This is, of course, is just a concept and not yet available. Damn it, I wish this thing was available. Here's one that is available, and of course it was made by university students in the States. I'm not sure if it was MIT or a different university, but basically it's a solar-powered soft rocker, or at least that's what they call it. It has a strip of a solar panel on top. It has warped plywood for people to sit in, and it rocks. It moves around. It has a light built in, so at night it lights up. And of course, what do you do with the extra energy? You charge your own device. I wish I could see what was on this screen, but whenever I looked at other sites, including this university's website, I wish I remembered which one that was, it wouldn't really give any details besides this is a solar-powered soft rocker that also charges things via USB. It would not say anything else, and I wish it did. And I would not mind buying one of these for my own room, because it looks really comfortable and useful, actually. Here's another solar-powered bag. It's a laptop bag, or as most people call it, a briefcase. And as always, solar power charges anything via USB, and of course in this case also carries things. Unlike my solar powered panel, which I carry around with me in my own backpack, which can't carry anything, this one does, just like the other solar powered backpacks. And another solar powered bag. I would still use this for my laptop, and of course charge anything with a phone. There are other portable solar panels, not just the one that I have. They have very different designs. This one, of course, they call it the flower design. I don't know why, but from Ottawa, they have their own. And Daytech, the one that I got it from, also a Canadian company, although most of the portable solar panel companies are all American or Japanese. Don't get too grossed out. Once again, just like the vibration charging clothing, girls, you are lucky. You get solar-powered bikinis, solar panel bikinis. And if they made swimsuits for guys like this, or if they made a t-shirt like this, I would totally wear it. I don't care how reflective it is. I get unlimited power and nobody else would. It just sucks how I can't get this for myself, because I'm a guy, and come on, why? Only half the population can use this. Going back to portable solar panel chargers, here's another design where it's a flip design, so you end up with something larger than a pocket-sized device, and then it folds into something that's a pocket-sized device. Of course, charges anything using their own ports on the side, so it's not by USB, it's by, I would guess that would be a DC port, but I'm not 100% sure. It would be extremely limited as to what you could actually charge with it, or if they would probably make a lot of money off of selling the adapters for various devices. Here's a very old solar panel concept, and this one actually came out. I have ad blocker. Why do I have this here? There we go. It's a rolling solar panel that plugs into any laptop. This is a very old laptop. This is a very old camera. It's not even digital. That's how old this concept is. That's how long these ideas have been around, and yet nobody knows about these. They're such old ideas, but nobody knows, and I wish they did. Here's another flower design for a solar panel. This one, of course, is from a Japanese company, Ambientech. I don't know why they called it that, but I don't know. It sounds pretty cool. It unwraps itself. You can put any design with it. If you have multiple, I wouldn't suggest going like this. I would suggest doing this and dividing it into quarters so you have a full out flower design. And of course, once again, it charges almost anything via USB. I don't know why it has batteries, but maybe that's to charge batteries. It didn't give a lot of details about this actually, whereas the other portable charging devices had a lot of research put into them, including the concepts. This one, not so much. It has, of course, the features written over here, but not so much besides that. And finally, onto the last window of my research. I'll get to that, what you just saw in a moment. Here's one of the ugly concept cars. It's supposed to be a family vehicle by Hyundai for 2020, a complete electronic vehicle. I don't know why they're saying a complete electronic vehicle by 2020 when they could have made one 5 years ago or even now, but companies that make cars tend to be extremely stubborn about the technology of that car, or all their cars actually. Here's one. It's not a car, but these are solar powered boats, or a completely electric boats. I just think this one's cool. It's just a design one, but I mean, come on, that thing looks like a spacecraft, or like, I don't know, something sci-fi-ish. And it's actually just a boat that has the sides of the hull that fold up or down. When they go down, I guess it just makes it wider, and it folds up to actually close it. But they have other ones as I scroll along here that are more, that one's a pedal boat, but this one's like a yacht you can live on. I don't know why they would have loungers on deck, considering if there's a storm and you're living out there, why have these? Or I guess this is most of the time just for really rich people who just want to spend a day, if it's sunny, out on the water. I would have preferred to get something that, if you get something, live in it. Here's another really cool solar one. They have a bunch of different ads for this one out, most of which have it in front of like a private island, or just like for really rich people. But they could have made a easier one to, like a more affordable one for everybody else. Here's another solar powered boat. A lot of people confuse this one with a flying fish because the solar panels actually move around like wings, and then at the base of these wings that go into the water, those are where the motors are. So when it moves, the hull comes out of the water and it looks like it flies. I have seen one of these on Lake Ontario briefly, and oh my god, it was awesome. And then it disappeared over the horizon because it was really fast. But yeah, I would love to get one of these. Here's one that I felt looked a lot like a video game character, or a video game ghost or something. I have ad blocker, so I don't know why everything popping up on the side is a bunch of girls. But basically, here it's the windshield, or the windows, the only window actually, is a solar panel, which is see-through, so you can see out through it. You can adjust the color of the headlights, or, well, they look like eyes, so you can make it like angry with like red, or like green, like good guy, or blue, or like a good guy. I don't know. It looks like it makes it very video game character-ish, or like humanoid when you give it eyes and like a smiley face. But I'm guessing this is like a one-person car that's like a three-wheeler, and it just looks weird, but I can see why people would get it. Although I can also see where they got the idea for the solar panel on the windshield. That idea they got from Fisker, which is an American sports car company, which is completely electric and completely solar powered. Their cars look awesome, although they're extremely expensive because they're sports cars. Like I said, I would get to this at some point. It's a complete self-sustaining personal floating island. Well, it's actually just a boat in the shape of an island, but basically it's a concept that has a glass bottom tube somewhere here where you can just walk downstairs and ta-da, there's a coral reef if you're in I don't know, tropical waters. But if you're in like the Atlantic, you'll see just water everywhere. These pods, I don't know, they look kind of weird, but at the same time they can be kind of useful. And of course, was the best part of it. Look how detailed this thing is. Like, that's a scene from the Fellowship of the Ring, right after Gandalf dies in the Mines of Moria. And like, how do they get like so much detail when it's a concept drawing where this is computer generated, but they just put like a screenshot in it, and it like that has the most detail of the whole. Like, yes, they even have this, and they have the same scene repeated over down here, which, you know what, never mind, I like this thing. Ad blocker, I don't want this thing here. This is a amphibious electric vehicle car, where it's a 3-wheel thing, so it has one wheel at the front, and it has 2 wheels at the back, which actually rotate 90 degrees, to point backwards and be used as motors underwater, like a boat. Which I think, yeah, that would be pretty cool. But would it be a boat, or would it be a car? Or something in between? Here is the Arrow. Actually, this was written by a guy testing out prototypes for the Globe and Mail. It's a single-person car, or I guess they're going to end up calling it a motorcycle, because again, it's a 3-wheeler, so it's either a motorcycle with an extra wheel, or it's a car missing a wheel. But either way, it looks like the spaceship from Men in Black 2, or the one with like the Light of Zartha thing. And I don't know, it's supposed to look like a fighter jet. The Opel Rack E also looks like a fighter jet. Look it up. Opel Rack E. It's also a concept motorcycle. It's also supposed to look like a fighter jet. Of course, this one has higher capabilities than any other electric car ever created. It has the largest battery it's a 600 kilometer range battery, where most things are 100 kilometer, 200 kilometer, or 400 kilometer ranges. This one's 600 kilometers, and it can go up to 200 kilometers per hour. I don't know a lot of specifications about cars, but I'm pretty sure, just knowing that the speed limit on the 401 is 100, and that this thing can go twice that, is fast. So in like, it can spend like 3 hours depleting its battery, and ends up 600 kilometers away from where it was in 3 hours. It's a 1-person vehicle, and they can fit 4 of it in one usual size parking spot. That's the size of it. It's a quarter of the size of a regular car, which I guess is more efficient when you want a smaller vehicle. But unlike smart cars, which are extremely fragile, these are supposedly nearly indestructible, so that if this thing gets hit by an SUV, the guy inside will still be alive, instead of being like a golf cart, like a smart car, where it's easily destroyed. Lockheed, which is a British company, decided it wanted to make a hydrogen fuel-powered airplane, so that it would release no pollution whatsoever. It says right here, emitting no pollution whatsoever. Which, yes, that's cool, but I still have my hesitations about using hydrogen cells. Plus, these things look kind of creepy. I'm guessing they were supposed to be based off of wasps, or some sort of, predatorial insect, because it has that look to it of like that. I don't know. It looks more aerodynamic, but I can see like they based this off of a wasp. Here's to contradict what most people think of electric vehicles. This one doesn't run off of solar energy. This one doesn't run off of hydrogen fuel. This one doesn't run off of wind energy. Actually, it kind of does. It runs off of pollution. It has these filters over here that actually it looks like a frog, kind of, which is kind of cool. And it's also like the Arrow, where it's a 1-person vehicle and you can fit 4 in one spot. Wherever it drives, it filters out the air, and it runs off of the air that it filters. and basically the carbon that it takes out of the air is what it's powered by. I don't know how it gets energy off of carbon. There was not a lot of research publicly available for me to find about it. And finally, here's a 3-wheeled vehicle that's also supposed to look like a fighter jet. This is the Purejet. Purejet. I butchered that name, I'm sorry. But it's a European company with the symbol of a lion. I'm just going to call it the Lannister, because considering this car is also called the Lion with 2 L's, I mean 2 I's instead of 1, or a Y in our case for our school. But yeah, it's an electric vehicle using lightweight materials and blah blah blah. It's a car. So thank you very much for listening. That is all I could find for my 4th project, and that's only half of the actual research that I found. I didn't want the video to be way too long, so thank you very much, and I hope